What went wrong for the Jets this year, Sam?
Well, 5 snaps into the season, Aaron Rodgers blew his Achilles.
It's a rough start.
And therefore, their season went up in smoke. The end.
Yeah, not great. It's interesting discourse around the Jets. Your famous your pinned tweet, is it still there? Peyton Manning.
Well, no, not now because the voting is.
The voting is. Oh, I need to.
Yeah.
What's the morality of? I've got a buddy. We were raising money because his daughter was born with a disease. I've been raising money for him.
Yeah.
That's my pinned tweet right now. Do I switch that in for the voting?
No, I think you can leave it. That's a better cause than us just trying to win an award.
Okay.
You can do highlighted tweets, which I don't really understand how they work, but you can highlight multiple tweets that way.
We should learn. So your old tweet was, like basically if you don't have, we don't practice with our backup quarterback. We don't have a plan for that.
Yeah, Tom Moore once asked, John Gruden once asked Tom Moore why Peyton Manning's backups don't get more practice reps. And he said, fellas, if 18 goes down, we're fucked. We don't practice fucked. Yeah, pretty much sums it up.
So there are people who are criticizing the Jets as Joe Flacco off the couch is leading the Browns to the playoffs.
Yeah, and
as Jacoby Brissett's coming in and making the Commanders look viable, that the Jets did not go out and try to salvage their season.
And I think there is some validity to that. But I think overall the general outcome is still if you have to turn to backup quarterbacks in the season, you're probably screwed. Now, the Browns are making it work, and other teams have gotten by. But we've talked before, there tends to be a shelf life to these backup quarterbacks. Like Jake Browning turned into a pumpkin twice against the Steelers, right? And outside of that, he's looked fantastic. But, Josh Dobbs was being the quarterback that was talked about, that the Jets should have gone and got Josh Dobbs. Would have cost him nothing. Clear upgrade over Zach Wilson. Well, Josh Dobbs has been benched for Nick Mullins, who himself might be benched this week because he's been terrible. I don't know if you can predict the performance of these backups. You have to just cross your fingers and hope that you're going to get 2 or 3 or 4 good games out of them and, disappear before it all turns to hell again. Now, I think the Jets should have done something because clearly Zach Wilson was going to be the guy. Tim Boyle, with all due respect to him, was only there because Aaron Rodgers liked him. He wasn't a real option, you know what I mean? So they needed something else, anything else. And it honestly doesn't matter what it was. Just make a move before the deadline where you can't really make moves anymore, and they didn't do anything. So I think their season went up in smoke when Rodgers went down. That being said, if you want the real difference between the Jets and the Browns this year, it's the offensive line. Now, I know the Browns are now down 3 starting caliber tackles, but the Jets never had 3 starting caliber tackles in the first place. And even had Aaron Rodgers been healthy all year, that line might have been a problem bad enough to prevent the team, having the kind of success that they wanted anyway. So I think the true cause of death for the Jets season this year is Rodgers not making it past, the first drive. But the biggest problem on the roster was the offensive line.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. Yeah, cause of death. That's what weren't calling it that, but we were definitely highlighting that in our autopsies here.
Yeah, that's what the coroner does, right?
Yes. The Jets' offensive line, there's only 2 offensive lines in the NFL, or just 2 teams in the NFL, because this includes tight ends, running backs, that are bottom 5 in both pass blocking and run blocking grade. And it's the Giants and Jets. It's all in the same stadium. There has not been good blocking in that stadium, or when they go on the road for that matter. Jets having the 3rd lowest pass blocking grade. So it is interesting that if Aaron Rodgers was there, what would that look like? Because he always had pretty pristine pass blocking in Green Bay. I don't think Rodgers always had the best pass catchers outside of Devontae Adams. He always had a true number 1 type.
Right.
But I don't think he had a great receiving core ever. But he always had really good pass protection. And, that would have been – that's the offseason priority for the Jets, which is why on the review show the other day I said they just fell to 9th in the draft order. They might be out of the running for one of the 2 blue-chip offensive tackles. We'll see if other guys emerge. But something to keep an eye on here for the Jets. Cause of death, Aaron Rodgers plus the offensive line. Good job by the defense. 2nd straight year.
Yeah.
Just incredible job by the defense. Number 1 coverage grade in the NFL. And it's not just corners. It is their entire back seven has been elite this year.
Yeah, and I know they've given up a lot of points in certain games, and they've kind of collapsed in certain games. I don't know that you can overstate, how important it is that the offense is just not bringing anything to the table. Like, even though the Browns are in a similar situation in terms of elite defense, backup quarterbacks, like, their offense has always been able to move the ball, more or less, right? They've been able to at least hold up their end of the bargain for a while and at least give the defense the feeling that all they need to do is to hold again, right? The Jets are in this rut now where they know the offense isn't going to move the ball. It's probably going to go 3 and out. They're going to be back in the field again, and then they just, they know if they don't score, it's not enough. So I think people are giving the Jets defense a little bit too much criticism because of the way they've fallen off in some games.
I'm not seeing that. Where are you seeing that?
It's out there.
Okay. The points against number, again, like there are dependencies in every stat and number. That does depend on the offense too.
Right.
It is a big factor. Field position and, like you said, just the mental toll of we got to pitch a shutout here. So I think the Jets defense has been very good for the most part this season.